against both. Don't leave one and say, okay, well, he done it when she actually done it, or both of them start at the same time. So talk to everybody, get all your information, and then take the appropriate action.
I would think with domestic violence, you want to separate them, definitely separate them. Try to figure out what happened. If there's probable cause for the arrest, definitely make the arrest. If there's marks, you need to document everything. When you come up, you need to be aware of your surroundings. And be polite, be respectful.
I think the law says primary aggressor. You have to determine who the primary aggressor is if you're going to arrest somebody. If not, if you can't, and they're both skin up, you have to take them both. The main problem, or the main factor, is to get them separated. The question was, what would you advise the officer? I'd tell him to be careful, and I'd tell him to, if all possible, to wait until some help gets there before you go in the house, because you got to separate them anyway. You can't separate them by yourself. I mean, obviously, if somebody's in there screaming for help, then go do the best you can. But if it's a domestic situation, and hey, they'll tell you how many times you've been there when you get the call for service. The radio operator will say we've been there X amount of times in the past X amount of days, and months, or years. So you know kind of what you're getting into. I just tell the deputy to be careful, wait for your help if you can, determine the primary aggressor, and you have to take somebody to jail to separate them, or take them to jail. I mean, if somebody's wrong, they're wrong.
Okay, Mr. Baird. Please talk about your method for patrolling the county. Talk about how many officers are needed per shift, where you want them located, and how you intend to address speeding and other road safety issues.
Well, I intend to first look at the history of the calls here in Madison County and see where we need the most people. The zoning concept is a great concept. It puts people in the places where they're commonly needed the most. Unfortunately, that does leave them out of some of the places where you might not see them, like Harrison or Shiloh. But they still need to be there. We just need to put them where they are most likely to do the most good at the right time. We're not going to go around writing tag light violations just to generate revenue. But as many of you may already know, I've spent the last 11 years in the Uniform Traffic Division at the Athens-Clarke County Police Department. Was a DUI enforcement officer for about 10 of those. DUI, reckless driving, those things are issues that affect everybody in the community at all times. We need to address those aggressively, and we'll do that. Reckless driving, DUIs, we're not going to ignore them, but we're not going to be trying to necessarily generate revenue either. But we are going to slow folks down, and we're going to put deputies out on the road where they'll have the tools and equipment like the lasers and or the radars, where they'll have the certifications to do it. We can use the instructors that we have here in North Georgia to get that training for free and locally. So we'll be able to actually actively and proactively enforce traffic laws and be more active in the community so that we're seen more as opposed to just being responsive like it appears we've been in the past.
Please talk about your method for patrolling the county. Talk about how many officers are needed per shift, where you want them located, and how you intend to address speeding and other road safety issues.
Okay, we're dividing the county, or probably dividing by zones, so I know where each officer is at that time. When the call comes out, which one is the closest to get to that call. For the traffic issue, being with the state patrol, that's all I done was traffic. I don't know how many tickets I wrote a day, but I wouldn't have the whole sheriff department writing tickets. I would make a traffic unit. And like I said, I would stagger the time by the traffic unit, so when he comes in, he's still covering another shift, so they have a backup officer on that shift. And not only would I have them coming like on staggered times, when they out patrolling or doing traffic, they don't mean they have to write you a ticket every time they stop you. They can give you a warning, or they can just tell you to slow down. But that would be my take on it. Thank you.
Here we talk on it over and over, but I think zones in this county is very important. That's going to put the officers in the right place at the right time. As far as speeding, nobody likes to get a ticket. I don't personally like writing tickets, but I'd much rather write you a speeding ticket than work a car wreck. That's the way I look at it as far as writing tickets.
Well, the manpower issue, when I left in '08, we had a lieutenant and 4 deputies on each shift, a lieutenant, a sergeant, 3 deputies, so 5 people on each shift. I'm not exactly sure how it works now. I know that there's not that many available 24/7, which was the state when I was there. You asked manpower and
How many different officers, where you want them located, and how you intend to address speeding and other road safety.
okay, the zones, everybody knows the county's divided up into zones. I don't, there needs to be somebody down there around Hull 24/7. I think that's where the majority of the people live, around English, Hull. Not saying they're any more important than somebody who lives on, in Harrison. I'm saying that there's more calls for service down there because there's more people. They've had several bank robberies down there. We need maybe somebody within a 5-mile radius, I would say 24/7 down there. When I got here, there was no radar in any sheriff's office car. I mentioned it to the commissioner. Sheriff Fortson was on the commission at the time. He said, look, any sheriff brings radar to the county is a one-term sheriff. And I said, well, Sheriff, the rate things are going now, there ain't gonna be nobody left to vote. We had 18 fatalities the first year I was sheriff, so the people had to slow down. It was just like a free-for-all. We finally got it. We got the radar, we put it in some of the patrol cars, and never was in all of them. We gave 20 miles an hour over, and we still wrote all the tickets that we wanted to write. So bottom line is, if you want to write speeding tickets, there's plenty of them out there. And until people learn that they have to slow down and drive safely, then you still, I mean, that's just the way it is. But as far as the man, sorry.
The county's already broken into zones. The shifts, there's actually 4 guys on a shift, and there's guys that are split shifts. They're split to cover high volume times. You're gonna have more going on till about midnight than you are from 2 to 7 in the morning. So they're split up like that to get more people out there during your high traffic time. And Mr. Lowe said, I still give them 20 over. If you're going over 20 miles per hour, in my mind, you need to. You're going way too fast. Fatalities. When I come in '09, we had 6 fatalities that year. Last year we had 1, and it's because we did increase traffic enforcement within this county. When we had people call saying that they're having problems with their road, we sent people down there to slow them down, and it works. We got a very, if you call it good or bad reputation with Glen Cary Road. We got more complaints on that road than y'all could believe. We got it slowed down so the people down. You just got to be smart with how you do it. Hull is more people in Hull. There's generally an officer down there at all times because the majority of calls do come in from Hull. 30 seconds.